I think they should just be in for a really good time. If they don't know anything about the Publican, I think initially they are a little taken back, but I think once they kind of open their minds to the communal dining, I think they start to feel that sense of community. They kind of start to let their inhibitions go. The Publican actually is the keeper of the pub. A lot of people ask that, but it's generally just somebody that opens the pub, closes the pub, so I guess in essence, I would be the Publican. Brian Houston, our chef de cuisine, is in the kitchen each day, but Paul Kahn, the executive chef, is definitely very apparent. He's here shucking oysters, kind of tasting dishes and being the creation. The menu is a local seasonal American, definitely with a focus on oysters, seafood, meats. A lot of that is pork, and then a beautiful selection of vegetables. What we want every diner to walk out, of the Publican is just really walking out and saying, wow, that was the best dining experience of my life. Everything from the food to the service to the ambiance, and really just kind of walking out and saying, wow, that was truly amazing.
So Brian, you say the good times are always brewing at the Publican. Tell us why you chose it.
Publican's a wonderful restaurant just over there in the Fulton Market district. Bunch of restaurants around there, and I think this one really is the creme de la creme. You have a huge menu with anchored by the freshest oysters, probably within 800 or 900 miles. You have tons of offerings of fresh fish. You have tons of pork dishes, seasonal vegetables. You really can't go wrong. And with a 50-item menu, there's always something for everyone, and there's always something new as well.
So what brings you back here? Is it the food? Is it the ambiance, the people, the beer? What is it that really kind of seals the deal for you here?
You have a 200-bottle beer list, and that isn't even the thing that brings me back, because I just let them recommend the beers to pair with whatever I eat. It's the warm atmosphere, it's the warm people who work there, and it's the amazing food. It's really the only place in this town I'll go for oysters, the crudo that they always have, a seasonal crudo every day it changes. It's some of the freshest fish you'll find, and you'll laugh, but they make homemade pork rinds, which are some of the most delicious things in the world. You really have to make sure that you only have one order per table, because you could just keep eating them.
So Leilani, Publican had been on you and your husband's to-go list for a while. You finally made it. Was it worth the wait?
It was. I loved it. And you know what? They had me at pork. I love good pork. I felt like if I was there, I got to eat me some pig. So I had the pork rinds, which melted in your mouth. I also had the fresh ham platter. And I also had the 3-ham plate.
You handed out.
I totally handed it out, and it was so good. I think my heart won't thank me for that later, but it was a really good time.
So Jerry, you and your wife went on date night.
Yes, we did.
What'd you think?
You know, it was an interesting place. The atmosphere was unique. The tables were set up in an elongated L shape, sort of like communal dining. I really didn't care for that too much, because we like intimate dining. But the food was great. I did try the pork rinds. They were okay. My wife ordered the pork sampler to plate, and it was great. I had the pork shoulder, which was absolutely fabulous. It was a dry roasted pork shoulder served with cabbage, and it was wonderful. It was definitely something that was different for dinner time. There was a buzz in the atmosphere. It almost seemed like happy hour, but it wasn't.
What was the crowd like?
The crowd was pretty festive.
It seems like that everyone's just really happy to be there, that the servers are very knowledgeable. I think that also adds to the festive atmosphere. It's a very big room, sort of evoking a old school type of beer hall, where it takes that sort of buzz and elevates it a little bit more.
So Lenny, you a big beer fan?
I am.
So how did you choose from their 200 plus
Actually, they asked me what type of beer I liked, and I mentioned a few Belgian beers, and they recommended a few to try, and they actually gave me a little sample of it, which I thought was wonderful.
So they actually have the equivalent of beer sommelier. They have several on the staff. They're called beer cicerones, or cicerones, I should say. And so, which is nice, because it's like, how do you know which one's good? And they can pair, different types of beers depending on what you're having. So Brian, being one of your favorite restaurants, Publican, who do you recommend this place to?
I'd really recommend it to anyone, but if you're a timid diner, I really think you should go with someone who's a veteran there, just to help you to pick out some of the more safer dishes. Maybe you'll have a fried perch platter if you're from Wisconsin, and that's something that you've been looking forward to have. Maybe you have some Gulf shrimp. Maybe if you enjoy having mussels, that's sort of one of the more safer dishes, and then you get deeper into the pork shoulder. Or I had a braised lamb neck the other night. I also had some pork tongue, so maybe you want to save that for the third or fourth visit after you've been able to dig into some of the more fan favorites.
Would you agree, Leilani, that this may not be for everyone?
It's not for everyone. If you're afraid of some fat, do not go there. But if you really embrace it, and if you enjoy different types of food, my grandma would be so proud because I was the weird kid in class who always had like the fried giant pork. Well, yeah, exactly. All three of us. But I always had like a giant pork chop or, like a pork neck or something like that. And I think if you're afraid of seeing like a tongue or anything like that, it's not a place for you. But if you're really adventurous and you really want to try something different, I say go.
What did you think of sort of how the restaurant looks, or describe the feel for the restaurant?
The feel was interesting. The boxes, they had, I call them like penalty boxes on the side there. They were.
It's kind of like corralling in cows or something.
It is.
It is.
Everything was fenced in there, But it was definitely comfortable, at least where we were, and the mood was quite unique. They had pictures of pigs on the wall. I thought it was pretty interesting. These soft globe lightings gave it a different feel. The staff was tremendous, and they really walked us through the menu. I thought that was pretty fascinating, how they were really intimate with the menu and helped us along with that. And they also helped me choose a great Belgian beer. It was absolutely outstanding to go along with my pork shoulder.
All right, Brian, you picked the Publican. Sum it up for us.
Publican is a ingredient-driven restaurant, oysters, pork, chicken, really anything you would like, an amazing beer list, great service, just a friendly place either to pop into the neighborhood or to make a night out of it.
All right, Leilani.
For a night out with your friends, to have a really great time and something unique and interesting, that's a place to be.
And Jerry.
I agree with Leilani. It's definitely a place for a large group, interesting atmosphere, but I don't know if I'd go there regularly.
Well, you can feast on the pork and much more at the Publican, 837 West Fulton Market, 312-733-9555. They're open at 3:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and brunch and dinner on Sundays. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person is $50.